Weapons are a constant in almost every kind of video game. Big weapons, small weapons, stabby weapons, shooty weapons. There are so many different types of weapons, but they all need to be kept in check somehow. Weapon systems are present in every game that has weapons, and even though they might be pretty low key or right up in your face, they control everything from progression to upgrades to abilities and variants, and they're pretty good. I like them. But what I want to talk about today are the games that take it a little bit further, complicates them. Ones that allow for not just personal customization of your weapon choices, but ones that even allow up to hundreds of different types of playstyles all at your fingertips. So first up, come on now, Grandpa, we gotta talk to the people. What did you say, sonny boy? Oh jeez. Team Fortress 2 is an almost 18-year-old free-to-play multiplayer first-person shooter, but it's a little bit underground, you might not have heard of it. TF2 is the game that is usually brought up the most when discussing weapons as a topic, and for this video, that isn't going to change. But first, let's go back to the basics. Because Team Fortress 2 is a hero shooter, we gotta introduce ourselves to our heroes. There are 9 completely unique classes, and because I'm autistic and really like patterns, we'll set them up into weight classes. Light being the lower HP, more support oriented classes, medium for our cookie cutter damage dealers, and heavy, you just be heavy. Firstly, Scout. He's a little pesky mosquito guy. Fast moving, fast shooting, and great at keeping the enemies distracted or flanking. The Engineer, who can build turrets, teleporters, or these little boxes to heal the whole team. He's overall just a helpful guy. Then we have the Medic, arguably the most important class for a team. He can heal the team and make them invincible for a short time and other stuff. We'll go over the weapons soon. Sniper, our piss-loving true blue Aussie. He's got his sniper of course and can one-shot any class with a fully charged and well-placed headshot, and yeah, he's fun, unless he's on the enemy team. And then finally for the light class, we've got the Spy, who can turn invisible and also one-hit any enemy by default with a backstab. But unlike the sniper, you actually need skill to play him. And now for the mediums, first up is Soldier, the classic easy offense, easy defense, good all-around player. He's got a rocket launcher and he can fly. Then we got the Pyro. He's got a flamethrower and he can be annoying sometimes, especially sneaking up on you, but come on, who can hate that face? Then we got Demo Man, our alcoholic Scottish demolitions expert. He makes things go boom. And our final class, Heavy, just a heavy man with a heavy gun. Alrighty, so now we've gone over our characters and what they do. Why is this game so special? Well, let's get back to topic. TF2's weapon systems and progression has been refined for years, at least back when Valve was actually adding content. But even in the year 2025, it still sits at the 38th most played game on Steam. And that's not because of the fun gameplay, enjoyable maps, or social engagement with the community. Nuh-uh. It's the guns, baby. With all of the classes, they're defined by their stock weapons. Scout Scattergun, Soldier's Rocket Launcher, and Sniper's Sniper are their identity. It represents who they are and gives us an insight on their role within the team. But through crafting, unlocking achievements, or random drops, we can unlock a whole collection of new weapons and items for each class that provides various effects and stats to either refine a specific playstyle or completely change it in some ways. Let's just check out the Soldier to see what we're working with. By default, we'll set the stock rocket launcher as the average stats for Soldier's primaries, and it's very effective in almost all situations because of this. It's just average. But swap this out for the direct hit and we have a completely different type of playstyle. The direct hit provides a 25% damage boost and 80% projectile speed bonus, but this also comes with a negative 70% damage radius. So with the direct hit, you need to be much more precise with your shots to be even a little bit effective. But you are also rewarded greatly for it. Pair this with some gunboats for your secondary and the escape plan for your melee, which respectively gives negative 60% damage from rocket jumping and makes you move faster the less health you have, and you'll have yourself a very aggressive, high risk, high reward soldier build. or run the rocket jumper with the market gardener and you'll have a build that does 0 rocket launcher damage and relies solely on rocket jump melee kills. But this is only a handful of weapons for one class. Take the engineer and give him the frontier justice with the gunslinger that gives you a little sentry and free crits on a sentry kill and you got yourself a battle engie. Or the demo man with Alibaba's wee booties with any of the secondary shields that allow you to charge and a melee of your choice, and you have yourself a demo knight. Or put the Dragon Fury and Detonator on Pyro and you have an actually fun and interesting way to play Pyro, and well, you get the idea. This unique and diverse selection of weapons, playstyles, and expression is the heart of TF2, and if the game only had the stock weapons for all these years, it probably would have died a long time ago. So let's take a look at a more modern game that took a lot of inspiration from TF2's weapon systems. I mean, probably, I don't know if they took direct inspiration. Deep Rock Galactic is a multiplayer objective-based horde shooter, and is also technically a hero shooter, or should I say dwarf shooter. I'm not going to go over all the classes like we did for Team Fortress 2, but just know that Scout can grapple everywhere, Engineer builds turrets, Gunner has a big gun, and take a wild guess what Driller does. Now, the closest thing to Deep Rock Galactic's weapon system is, I would say, Team Fortress 2, but saying that, there are still more differences than there are similarities. We're just gonna look at the basics. Take the Scout for example, my favorite dwarf. He has a primary and a secondary weapon, and we'll just ignore all of his other gadgets. By default, he has an assault rifle and a shotgun. Simple. But we could swap the rifle out for an M1 Garand, or perhaps a plasma rifle, and the shotgun for dual automatic pistols or a crossbow. But unlike the majority of Team Fortress 2 weapons, these don't provide simple stat changes or slight effects. Every weapon in DRG is different and provides completely new playstyles to shoot some bugs up with. Along with this, every part of your loadout is fully upgradable and customizable, further allowing for even more optimization and personalization. And on top of that, there are overclocks which act as the little stats and bonus effect changes that TF2 weapons serve. This means that not only do we have our 6 different base, primary and secondary weapons, but we can also fully upgrade them to fit a certain build, and then continue to add balance overclocks to either refine that certain build more, or add clean and unstable overclocks to completely change the use of that weapon. It's just crazy what you can do in this game. Really quickly, I would just like to discuss weapon balancing. Having a smaller number of weapons in a game is always going to be easier to balance than having a ton of weapons. And most of what I'm going to talk about is mainly for multiplayer PvP shooters. Single player and PvE game weapons should always be more fun than anything, so balancing isn't as important in those games, but yeah. Let's lay out the basics and try to balance out 3 different weapons, which will represent a pistol, shotgun, and a sniper. Mid-range, short-range, and long-range. Now the reason I chose these types of weapons rather than including, say, an SMG or assault rifle is because these guns and automatic weapons as a whole always gets messy when it comes to balancing. Most likely you'll always have multiple for each weapon class, and you'd have to focus on everything from fire rate to reload speed, damage, damage range, recoil, even hipfire accuracy and aim down sight accuracy if that's included. It's why Team Fortress 2 barely has any automatic weapons, aside from a few examples, and consists mainly of shotguns and pistols for most of its weaponry, along with the fact that old games like TF2 just wasn't comfortable with the concept of automatic weapons yet, but that's neither here nor there. But going back to our 3 weapons, dumbing it down like this can really help when basing out weaponry for a video game. Shotguns can one-hit from a short range, but is not very effective from anything further. The pistol is an insert for an automatic weapon, but as a semi-auto pistol, it could still hold up in short-range fights, and even stand a chance at mid-range. And snipers stack up as a king for long range, with a one-shot kill always for the chest and above. But in order to balance it out, it would need to have a much slower mobility and quite useless at very close range. But a good weapon balance is nothing without good map design. It's the same reason why Sniper is such a problem for TF2. Most of that game's maps have very large sightlines that allow Sniper to just sit back and pick people's heads off. And the games that I feel balance the Sniper out the best is Counter-Strike and Fortnite, surprisingly. Most of the maps in CS2 are quite tightly knit, and although it is really easy to hold an angle with an AWP, it's quite slower to use than the other weapons, and it's very precise, so you need to hit your shots. And as for Fortnite, with its ferocious bullet drop, even long range, you need to be quite good to use it efficiently. Along with being a one-shot on any enemy without shield and headshot only kill with shield, means that it has the potential in being the best gun if it's in the right hands. And speaking of Fortnite, if you want to use my creator code, it's tab, no space. That's ITSTAB. I don't even know why I got a creator code. I didn't even play this game. And yes, I did only mention Fortnite so I could plug my code. But weapon balancing is important for every game, and it could go one of 3 different ways. Everything being overpowered, which means nothing is, everything being underpowered, which makes the game no fun at all, or having a handful of guns buffed and becoming a meta cycle, which is the worst way a game could go. And it seems like Call of Duty has all 3 of those going for it, year after year. Now, Call of Duty has gone through many different weapon systems throughout the years, with the original creator class system back in the day, and then the Pick 10 system introduced in Black Ops 2, and now we've got the Gunsmith, which was started by Modern Warfare 2019. Now, I could have chosen from the most recent form of the Gunsmith in Black Ops 6 or Modern Warfare 3's incredibly in-depth conversion kits, but Modern Warfare 2019 was the first to do it, and I like the game. Before it, we had a rather simple selection of loadouts, and with our selection of a primary and secondary weapon, we could pick and choose attachments for each, only limited by a maximum of 10 selections for a whole loadout, which also included our perks, tactical and lethal equipment, and the weapons themselves. But with the introduction of the new Gunsmith system, we could pick and choose to our heart's content, and the limited attachment selection from before was replaced with selections for individual barrel, muzzle, stock, rear grip, magazine, underbarrel, optic, and you name it. From this, you can create the gun builds of your dream, whether you want zero recoil, stealthy, aggressive, or whatever. You are only limited by the maximum amount of 5 attachments, and the actual grind of weapon levels, of course. Although most of the time, people would always simply just select the meta attachments for the most mobility and recoil control, which is a big problem in Black Ops 6 since every gun has the same attachments. However, in Modern Warfare 2019, most weapons had completely unique sets of attachments, which made every gun fun to mess around with, and create a bunch of wacky, silly, and goofy builds. And this was especially fun when a gun had a specific attachment that changed it completely, like the snake shots on the 357, the fully auto Psychos, or the explosive rounds on the Rytek, which wasn't very good, but it doesn't matter because it was fun. Having free range on every weapon inherently made the game more fun because of it. Having the freedom to make whatever you want on whatever you want just really let the creative juices flow. And although this type of weapon customization is prevalent in a lot of realistic shooters today, like Escape from Tarkov and all of that, having it in an arcadey game like Call of Duty made this type of personalization a part of its identity, and it's been expanded upon in many ways since then. Now, we've gone over a bunch of games that use their weapons and systems for build creation, personalization, and customization, but how about games that have weapon systems as a core part of their gameplay? ULTRAKILL is a very flashy, very stylish, and very cool first-person shooter, and surprisingly, nobody talks about this game, so you should really go watch more videos on this game. Rather than focusing on gun builds or attachment personalization, it's all about the weapon combos. In ULTRAKILL, you have 5 or technically 6 different weapons, all with 3 different variants. The revolver with the piercing shot, coin shot, and ricochet, the shotgun with the grenade launcher, charge shot, and chainsaw, the nail gun with the homing spear, faster shooting, and the taser, the railgun with the piercer shot, screwdriver, and explosion, the rocket launcher with time stop, cannonball, and oil spray, and we might as well include the fists with the parry, explosion, and grappling hook. Now the thing with ULTRAKILL is that all of these weapons all mishmash together to create a flurry of explosions, bullets, and blood, with every weapon reacting to every other weapon in really cool and unique ways. Want to shoot the coin with your railgun for increased damage? Go ahead. Want to parry your own shotgun pellets to make them explode? Sure thing. And that's not even mentioning the alternate weapons that you can also add to your arsenal. This in-depth system not only gives you an unlimited amount of ways to tackle an enemy encounter, but also invites and welcomes the player to practice each weapon, perfecting combos and really getting to know your whole arsenal like the back of your hand. And another game that utilizes combos with its weapons, just in different ways, is Noita, a magical wizardry roguelike. During your runs, you collect different types of staffs and potions, and once you reach the shop, you can purchase a very large variety of different spells that you can assign to your wands, along with whatever spell effect you want to mix in there as well, like split shot, teleportation, magnetization, or what have you. And whatever order you place them in is whatever order they will shoot out from. But having this very open freedom of choice to craft whatever mishmash of spells that will most likely lead to your own demise no matter what you do is honestly the most open-ended weapon system I've seen in a video game. And that's solely based on how many different spells there are, leading to an almost infinite combination of spells. But honestly, Noita was one of those games where it doesn't really mesh well with what I was going with, but I had to mention it just on how open-ended its weapon system is. Especially because I've talked a lot about weapon systems that involve a lot of guns, but let's switch it up a little bit for the end of the video. Melee-based weapon systems have to be the most interesting type to talk about, because how can you make hitting someone with the fist interesting? Well, Sifu pushes that to its extremes. The combat system in Sifu is almost the best I've seen from any other melee-based game. Like ULTRAKILL, it relies on combos, but rather than complicating things and making it all up, down, left, right, heavy attack and stuff like that, it ties dodging into the gameplay smoothly and intuitively. While whacking a nasty combo on your foes, you need to be looking out and dodge either up or down depending on your enemy's attacks, and with every well-timed dodge or parry, you gain more and more of an upper hand. Again, like ULTRAKILL, with the amount of combos you can perform with your attacks and dodges with it still not being overwhelming, really makes you want to train and get better, because your deaths are also very important to how well you progress in the game. And while I would love to sit and talk about Sifu some more, we'll have to do it another time, because Chivalry 2's melee-based weapon system is something else. Physics-based anything in any genre of game is always really fun and interesting, not only for a gameplay standpoint, but also just to mess around with. And including that in a medieval game with swords, axes, and shields is just wow. With your attacks, you can perform straightforward stabs, downward swings, or sideways slashes, along with blocks, riposts, and even faking out some of your attacks to trick your enemies. Now I'm nowhere near good at this game, but on the battlefield you can tell who is, because of the way they move around and tie their attacks in with their movement. Schmovement, if you will. And of course, being physics based, movement will of course play a part in your attacks. Crouching under enemy blows, baiting and faking them out with your movements, or moving your mouse so your attacks hit sooner are all ways to utilize this untapped potential in your gameplay. And it's also just really fun. Also, did I mention that you could throw your weapons? Now, I know I kept the melee-based weapon system section very short, but who knows, I could return to the topic further down the line, but yeah. Weapon systems are the string and duct tape that hold down the core parts of most video games, and if not done right, can really be detrimental to a game's fun factor. But thankfully, it seems a lot of developers know what they're doing, and I don't know how to conclude this video. It's almost 5 AM while I'm writing this, and I'ma still do the voiceover and edit the rest of this video after I'm done, but yeah, I like weapons. Like and subscribe and become a channel member if you feel the same. Woo! Channel member. Membership!